Don't go for a cheap Chinese if you're doing this car. I would say go for something like an Alpine, a JVC, Kenwood, somebody like that. Yo mad lifers, welcome back to the channel. I am doing a little project today. We're gonna get into the car. We've got the Mk3 Kia Sportage here, and sorry for the mess. I did tidy the car, but then we went out yesterday in it and we ended up getting mud all over everything. But what we're doing today is we're adding a 10.1 inch 4 gig ROM, 32 gig RAM Android head unit to the car. It's a straightforward installation. It's easy-ish if you know what you're doing, if you've done anything like this before. Don't know how I'm going to video this because it's going to be really awkward, but let's flip you over to the other camera. Whoa, come on, camera. Doesn't let me. Give me a second, I'll flip you around and I'll show you what the car's currently looking like, and then we'll do an after shot. Okay everybody, so at the moment this is the radio in the car. This is a Sportage, a Hyundai radio actually, in the Kia Sportage. The process we're going to go through today, there's one thing missing, which is a screw under here. I actually lost one of the screws when I was having a look the other day to see what's going to be involved with the process. So we're going to take off that panel there. We're going to take this out. We're going to take that hazard button and put that into the new fascia that we've got, which is down there at the moment. We're going to take out this section here. So behind my glasses there's a section that is for the passenger airbags and things like that, little warning lights. That's going to have to be taken out and put into the new surround. And then here we have this fascia. This is going to come out to do the job. So all we have to do is actually lift this forward, lift that forward, but we end up taking the whole thing off because it's just easier. I don't know how I'm going to video it. I'm going to work something out with the tablet and the phone, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay guys, I think that's got to be the sketchiest tablet setup ever for a YouTube video, but hopefully you can see everything. I'm going to flick through. You're going to be able to see when I take the screw out of here and pull the fascia off. You're going to see this, you're going to see this, so you should be okay. Fingers crossed everything goes well and you're going to get the information you need. Right guys, first things first, what we're going to do is get our tools out. So far we've got the radio that's going in. We have a fascia for that. We have a cable that converts the Hyundai to what we call an ISO, a standard fitting for the new radio. We've got some tools to use for the taking off of the fascias on the dashboard. We have my little screwdriver, which I'm just going to set up now with a small extension. I'm going to go with the number 2 posi head. So for those of you that don't know what that means, it's a number 2, see if we can get some focus, number 2 cross head. And we're going to start the disassembly of the car. First thing we need to do is get something sharp, and I just happen to have a little utility knife, and under here we have 2 covers of screws which we're going to pull out. I'm just going to turn the power off to the car as well, because otherwise we're going to end up blowing some fuses. Okay, and under these 2 covers you have a screw in each. We're just going to undo those. I did mention earlier I don't have the screw in the right hand one. The reason for that is when I was testing all this out and checking everything, I dropped one of the screws down in the dash and I actually can't get to it anymore. So put it in the cup holder. Lost my tablet. Knew that would happen. Oh, I'll get you all set back up so you can see me. Oh, it's the worst angle ever, but never mind. You can see what I'm doing. So once those 2 screws are out, we need to take these 2 fascias off. So the first thing we do is get a plastic tool. So we're not going to damage anything. And we're just going to yank in the screw hole with the tool or with our hands or whatever way we can, and get the first of the clips popped off. Now this is an absolute nightmare to do, but turned out it was my hands this time. What you can then do is work your way around that unit, and eventually it all pops out, and that's actually the easy one. Oh, turning the radio on. That's the easy one to take out. Because the second one on this side, once you get this started, you have to go all the way around the dashboard. So we're just going to pull, keep working our way around, using tools if needed, if we can, doing it with our fingers. I'm going to push both of the stalks down and bring the steering wheel down as low as possible, and everything comes out. But then you start bashing on things, so you have to be careful with the air vents. Just push them down and ease them out gently. At this point, I'm probably going to lose my camera that's facing me. Maybe not, I might be able to position everything. Because I don't want to take this off entirely, I want to just leave it sat there. Okay, we now have 2 screws here in the plastic fascia on both sides. Actually, I'm going to readjust that because that doesn't actually help me at all. I've not disconnected any cables off this binnacle. There is a set of cables on the right hand side, and I could take them off. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna have a go. I've never tried it before, but it's worth a try. Let's take the cable off if I can get to it. There's a clip on the back of it, on the side, so I should be able to get it out. It's just fiddly. Once you get the angles and you know where everything is, it makes it a bit easier. There we go. Cable out, so we can take the whole fascia off, and that can go in the back as well. So that's the worst bit of the whole install, to be honest, taking that piece out, the binnacle around your clocks. So we're going to take out the second screw on the plastic fascia, and at this point we can actually take the plastic fascia out. On the back of the fascia there's 2 sets of cables. One of them is for the hazard light. When we pull this, you have to just pull quite hard. Pull that out. One of them's for the hazard lights, the cables, and the other one's for the airbag display. So just pop them. As long as your keys are turned off, you shouldn't have any problems with airbag lights or anything like that. This one at the bottom just needs a little lever under the clip, and that's out. We then have 2 screws on each side of the radio. Number 1. Number 2. All these screws that I'm taking out are identical. There are actually 8 for everybody else, but only 7 for me because I've lost one, as I said. 8 screws, all identical to each other. It doesn't matter where they go. So when you're putting it back together, you don't have to be picky about lengths or screw sizes or anything like that. That's the third one out. A magnetic screwdriver would be a good idea on these. Mine isn't magnetic. I do have a tool, but it's in a case that I can't get to at the minute, so we'll just make do with this and you keep our hands going. Pull the radio out after them 4 screws, and there are 2 clipped cables on the back, and then out it comes after you take the aerial off. Okay, on the back of here now we've got 4 little screws. Now these are different to all the other screws that we've taken out so far. The head needs a smaller head than that, it's not going to go in. So we're just going to change the screwdriver head to a number 1. Take those 4 out at the top. So you can't quite see that on the camera, but they're basically these 2 and these 2. Take those those 4 out. It is like an oven in here, guys. It is roasting hot. It's a lovely sunny morning here in Costa del Keithley. And in a moment I think I'm going to have to undo a window because it's just getting too warm. So at this point, if you turn your keys on, you're fine. You shouldn't have any problems. Of course, all my wipers are turned on, doing all sorts of crazy things. So turn the key off again, because again we don't want to blow any fuses. 2 screws out, 2 to go. All the components I've bought for this were actually off eBay. I'm going to have a look and see if there are suitable components the same on Amazon, and give you guys a link to it. It's going to be an affiliate link, so I do get a kickback. Doesn't change the price for you guys, you pay exactly the same thing, but what it does do is give me a couple of pounds here and there just to be able to help support the channel and give us a chance to do more videos like this. I've got some cool plans coming forward, and hopefully you guys are going to help me fund some of them. So on this one we have 2 clips either side. You just have to squeeze it and push out the hazard light. That fascia can go in the back and is not going to be used anymore. Now we have the new fascia in a pristine white box. It's just turned up this morning. This is the part I've been waiting for. In the box comes the fascia itself and some hardware. Get rid of the white box. Get rid of the bag. That's the new fascia. You see it goes in exactly the same position the old fascia was in, but now we have a square outlet for the new radio. And this is a double din. If you wanted to do a single din, I don't know if there's an option, I'll have a look, but I don't think there is, to be honest. I think you can only put double din radios in with these adapters, for the Mark III Sportage anyway. We've got some white clips here. They go on the back, on the lugs that clip into the front of the car. I'm just going to throw those on. Should be 6, I think. Yep, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woohoo! Come on, number 4. Number 5. And number 6. So what these are going to do is they were actually what clips into these here. Two at the bottom to hold the fascia on. So there's these white clips, you just push them on. Next there are some brackets and some screws. So these are going to hold the radio into the dash, because that fascia doesn't actually hold the radio, nothing attaches to that. That's going to go there. So I'm going to keep that hardware out 1 second. I'm going to clip in my hazard light. It should just push straight in. Hopefully, all being well. That's one. And at the top we're going to put this back in. This airbag, just give it a quick clean. The airbag screen. Get a quick wipe on the t-shirt, you know, quality cleaning opportunities there. And then we're going to find the 4 screws that we took out of that and put them straight back in. So remember, these 4 are different to the ones that clip everything into the dashboard. So you should be able to find them really easy. There shouldn't be any problems with mixing screws together on this job. You don't have to keep everything separate, because there are literally 2 types of screw. These 4 for this one, and then the 6 that put the whole thing back into the dash. So, screw these in. It's the first time screwing them in, so they're going to be a bit stiff. I'm going to use my ratchet option, I think. I could use a power driver for this, but I don't want to thread them. It's only going into plastic, so if you go too hard, you go too deep, you're going to end up stripping all the plastic out, and it's just not going to be a good enough finish. Nothing's going to hold in place. It's going to be horrible. So let's do this by hand. Let's take our time. Let's do it properly. Okay, these screws don't seem to want to go all the way in for some reason. So like I say, this is my first time doing this. So I may have to use a bit of power. May have to. I don't normally like doing so, but I may have to use the drill. But we'll try not to. just really hard going in. You have to really push down on them, guys, until we get everything in place fully. You know what? I'm going to do the one thing I said I wouldn't do, and I'm going to use the drill. 1 second, guys, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back. Got those 4 screws in. I did have to use the power tool, the drill. They are way too difficult to put in by hand. However, saying that, I've got carpal tunnel syndrome in both hands, so I'm struggling anyway with my hands, so maybe you might be able to get them in. But it's number 1 Phillips, 4 there, 2 there, 2 there, and they're in. So that now would go in the face here. You can see we've got all our stock options back. And now we just need to get the radio out. I'm going to change back over to the other screwdriver head as well. Okay, let's get ourselves a bit more organised. Whoops, sorry guys, knocking you all over. Okay, so we've got a cable here. This cable converts our Hyundai optioned Hyundai setup connectors. They only go in one each, they don't go into the other one, so you can't get this wrong. But our Hyundai connectors then get converted into what we call ISO connectors. They're a standard across the whole audio market. You can't if you get a brand new stereo that isn't sort of for a specific car, it'll have ISO connectors on the back of it. Okay guys, let's get the radio out and let's see how this is going to go, because I haven't put this radio with this fascia before. I've had the radio out before, but never put it with the fascia, so I don't know how the order of things, because we have a big screen on this, as you'll see in a minute. That's the standard cable that comes with the radio. So what we're going to do is, that's where your ISO fittings go into, and again, they only go in one. This one has 8 cables connected to it, that one has 5. It's obvious where to put it, because that one has 5 pins in it. So there we go, 1, and there we go, 2. So the one with the 8 cables is the speakers, 2 for the front left, 2 for the front right, 2 for the rear left and 2 for the rear right. They're a bit of a fiddle if you don't get the pins quite going in straight. They don't want to go in place, and being new, obviously, they're a bit difficult. These ones we have 3 power. So one, normally the yellow, is a permanent power from the battery. That's what keeps your memory in your radio. The red is switched from the accessory, so as you turn your key to the first position, the red becomes live, and the black is the negative. The other 2, I'm not entirely sure what they are. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I can go through wiring diagrams and display that later if you want to. In this we have a GPS antenna. It does come with the radio I've got. That might not do with the one in the link, I don't know guys. This cable gives us auxiliary in. So I can put a video source, let's say, I don't know, I wanted to put an Xbox or a PlayStation in the car. I can connect that into the new radio, and we can watch it on the screen. This one is audio out, so this goes to if you have an amplifier, or if you want to do some different forms of speaker options. So you can actually do front out, rear out, subwoofer out. These are for video 1 and 2 out, so that means I can put headrests in the back, into the back of the headrests. Can have screens in the back of the headrests. And these 2 are one for if you've got a powered antenna that goes up and down. I don't know of any car that has them these days. It's a pretty old option. And the other one is your amp continuity. So this will start the amplifier when you turn your key. Okay, we're not going to need either of those for now. These are, this one is for a 3G modem. I don't have one of those, so I'm not going to install it. But this will let us do, basically give us internet in the car to the radio. But we're not going to install that. This one is a standard USB. I'm going to plug that in and feed it through the dash somehow. At a later stage I'm going to hide all that, so that's not going to be visible, but for now it will just stick out. And last one is, this seems to be for a camera, so it's a reverse camera, and maybe even it might actually give us some options to do a DVR, because I know there is a DVR option on this. Last but not least is this connector here for the antenna. That goes in the back of the new radio, and this goes to some weird and wonderful option. Never seen one of these before, don't know what it is. I'm assuming some cars have that for their antenna. Mine doesn't, mine just has a standard antenna option, like the old days. Pretty old school. Okay, next, get rid of the box, get rid of the packaging. And we have one 10.1 inch Android head unit, doubled in. On the back here there's a little Wi-Fi antenna. Again, I don't know if the one I'm going to link to is going to have that option, but I fundamentally have Wi-Fi on this unit, so I can actually connect my phone's hotspot. And away we go, we've got internet. On the top here you'll see there's 2 root screws that need removing. They are for the DVD player that's in the back behind the screen. Now, the way this is set up makes it awkward to install, because what I'd normally do is put the radio in, put these little brackets on the side, get it all in place and screw it, and then slide the fascia over. The problem is you can't on this because the screen's too big. So what we're going to have to do is pop this over the front. And it doesn't fit. Well, that's not good. We're going to have to widen out the hole. So it looks like the doubled in fascia isn't doubled in, or the radio isn't doubled in. So it doesn't actually fit over. The width here is wrong, and we're going to have to file out some of the side of this to make it fit in, which is disheartening. Confusing. I thought doubled in was doubled in. I thought there was no option on that. I thought it was what it was. I thought it was a set size and there would be no issues. So I'm a bit confused. Which means we're going to have to start hacking away here and here to widen it out slightly, which is not going to be the prettiest option. Luckily we do have the screen that's going to cover the front of it, but I need to find a way to do this that is not going to cause any sort of unsightly issues. I don't want it to look awkward. I'm thinking probably the radio, being a cheap Chinese option, isn't a standard size. That's what I'm going with. I think doubled in is a standard, and this probably isn't doubled in.